Really great to be with all of you on this first day of the week. January already the 9th, as we get ourselves into the new year. It was quite a weekend, of course. It ended with the weekend began, I guess one might say, with the picking of McCarthy as the speaker. Interesting to hear his observations on it, like simple things like, did he know it was the Mexican border? Did he have it confused with the Canadian border? Did he think he was back in Colombia? Or did he think his uncle and father were still asking him to give them the Purple Heart? And when is the last time he saw Roosevelt on television?
Last week.
Last week, Dr. Maria says. Last week he heard Roosevelt on television, which is good, which is a good sign. It means his dementia's coming along right on schedule to going brazzo. I don't know who I am or where I am. Now, I am doing this not because I want to be insensitive to anyone else who has dementia, for whom I have the utmost empathy. God knows it could happen to me, it could happen to you, it could happen to anyone. It's happened to some people I love. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to be a phony about this crook in the White House. This miserable, awful excuse for a public servant. A 35-year disgrace of the United States by taking money for its public offices, by completely defiling his family and making them into, well, if you look at those pictures, you wonder. But beyond that, making them into, well, the text of December of 2018, 2019, one that says, I've been paying all the bills of this family for 30 years, and they still don't respect me. Maybe they won't do this with you, but Pop requires me to give half his salary to him for 30 years. I don't know, suppose for 30 years you were giving half your salary to your father, and your father was a United States Senator and Vice President of the United States. I will only ask those out there with an IQ of 100 or more. If you haven't unanimously figured it out, rate your IQ below 100 because you're stupid and dumb and easily taken advantage of. And boy, I wouldn't want to put you in the hands of a corrupt used car salesman or insurance salesman. That's what happened to you with the United States. You gave my country, our country, him. You be ashamed of yourself.
What's going on at the border? We had a visit.
Dr. Maria wants to get me off the subject.
I want to get you on the border, Biden.
She wants to get me on the border, but we'll get on the border. That's another reason it's a disgrace that you voted for him. You know how many hundreds of thousands of Americans are dead as a result of his use of that border, what he's done with that border? There is no border, Dr. Maria.
No,
the United States has no border. The United States for 2 years has been under invasion by people from outside the United States who are not Americans, who might have decent reasons for coming here, who might have the worst reasons in the world for coming here. Who probably it's a combination of both. It is a combination of both. It's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be that you come to the United States and we check you out and we find out if you're coming here for good reasons within some sensible program that allows a certain percentage of people to come here, but not the whole world. Because even if the whole world were very good people, which it is not, we can't afford to have the whole world here. And we do have to take care of our family first. We don't invite everyone into our home indiscriminately if we can't feed our family, do we? And if we invited everyone into our home indiscriminately, except if we were some of the richest among us, like the Pelosi's, for then we would be broke and starving. But yesterday, Ted and I went by the old Kennedy mansion. Man, it's gigantic and it's beautiful. And it has a wall. I'm not saying anything bad about the Kennedys on this subject at all. Because every other mansion has a wall. Republican, Democrat, Independent. What's the Kremlin? I don't know. My audience knows what the Kremlin is. If I were with a liberal audience, they'd say, oh, it's Kremlin. I went to Harvard. They never taught us about the Kremlin. Kremlin are the walls that make up the old Soviet Union, and now behind which Mr. Putin governs. The point is, they're walls. There are walls, you see here. Like I live in a condominium. I'm at the top of one now. We're looking down. Downstairs, there's something called the doorman. That used to be like the Border Patrol. They're gone now. So it'll be like I have no doorman. My door is unlocked. Everybody can walk in. Oh, not only that, let's make it a little more graphic. Across the street there would be a group of people known as the cartel. The organized crime Sinaloa cartel. So they have drug dealers, human traffickers, and all other form of organized criminals represented or put in, displayed in every American city. So they have control of who comes in my house, not my doorman. Who are they going to send in occasionally? Some of their people to rob me. Some of the people to see if they can make me drug addict. Some of the people to see if they can, if there's anybody in here that's a pervert, that they can take advantage of or make money with. This is what this man is doing to the United States. And he went to the border and he said nothing different, nothing at all. And the guy who runs it all for him, who's only the second or third biggest liar in the United States, says the border is secure, even though we don't have a doorman of any kind. And we got that gang outside that's letting people in, but one at a time. So what are we going to do about it? Oh, we're going to let Venezuelans, Cubans, and I've forgotten the other group, Nicaraguans, in. They're going to be allowed to apply. Oh, but it's a game. It's another cynical, disgusting, horrible, impeachable con job by the guy who's been a con artist for 30, 35 years. You're not allowed to come in from those countries. Those are the countries where we have communism, by the way. But we're not let you in from the countries with communism. Why not? They're just like us. Why would you let you in? We got communism here. You got communism there. So they are going to be told to go back, but it can be made easy for them to apply. They can apply and do stuff like that, and then we'll let them in. Well, if it was easy for them to apply, they wouldn't have come in the first place. So this is unbelievable. He's trying to surgically determine the next generation of Americans. They're going to be people who are not communist haters. They're going to be people who embrace the communism and the socialism of the Democratic Party. They're not going to be like our former immigrants who came here for the purpose of work, as much as he can figure it out, because he's getting rid of the ones who want to do that. They're going to be the ones who come here for the purposes of what the Democratic Party now exists for, which is dependency. Do you know what's happening to you? I got to say this. I got lots of good friends on radio and television. I don't think anybody tells it to you as straight as I do. I'm not sure I don't think anybody's been in a position over the last 5 or 6 years to have his naive concepts, beautiful concepts, of America destroyed by realism, like me. But boy, I see it clearly. The moment I read that, I actually heard some people praising it. Oh, we're gonna have a special provision for people who are fleeing communist countries to come in. They missed one part of it. To take advantage of the provision, you have to leave. And then what does the provision allow you to do? allows you to do the same thing you would if you came in legally in the first place, which is what you didn't do when you came in. Also, they're going to know who you are. You know what our cynical embassy is going to do? I know our State Department. They're going to not let those people in. I will guarantee you 6 months from now, there'll be an expose of that. Just like what they did in Ukraine. Just like what those horrible State Department people did in Ukraine to the witnesses who could have put our present president in jail for the rest of his life.
I think that has questions.
So I tell you, it's really, really tragic going to the border. All it did is illustrate how America's been sold out by the Democratic Party and by Biden. The House came together with McCarthy, and it turns out maybe it wasn't the way it should be done. Maybe it was the way it should be done. I don't know. But they came up with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 changes of major substance, incapable of happening under the fascist Democrats. And one I think our American people have wanted for some time. Any single House Speaker, all for a new Speaker, which, by the way, had been the rule from time immemorial and is the rule in most parliaments. Number 2, a change of Dictator Pelosi. Number 2, the Freedom Caucus was given several new members on the Rules and Appropriations Committees. Those are the committees that make the rules for the bills. They're the ones who block things from coming to the floor. And they're the ones who send the 4,000 bills to the floor in 2 minutes. Then to hold votes on your pet issue. So if you want, they tried to do away with earmarks with these little special projects for this district and that district and this district and that. These are the bribery projects, the ones they give out to come up with the 4,000-page bill with the bridge to nowhere. No more. Each one of those gets a single up and down vote. Sorry, you're going to have to get your bridge from nowhere to get a majority of the House before you get it. And everybody then is on the hook for the bribe to you, not just the Speaker who can keep it quiet. And of course, there's going to be a vote on term limits. Hallelujah. Thank you. Worth the whole delay just for that. There'll be a special committee put together for alleged abuse of the FBI. Methinks it will be a very, very aggressive committee since they targeted Republican members of the House. The FBI did. The state police, they should be called. There'll be single subject bills on key issues, as I mentioned before, but there'll be a special provision for that. The members will have 72 hours at least to review a bill. That should be more. And there'll be a promise to not increase the debt ceiling and to stand against new federal spending. Hallelujah. Congratulations, Gang of 20. You're the first group in the House to accomplish something since Newt Gingrich. Congratulations. God bless you. So tomorrow begins the Proud Boys trial. Those were the insurrectionists without firearms. We're going to find out now how you can plan an insurrection against the greatest military power on earth, thank God, still, without carrying a gun. Precisely what your plan was for overthrowing the United States of America, or is it a phony thing akin to Russian collusion, Russian disinformation concerning the hard drive, the Biden, I never talked to my son's foreign crooked clients. What do you think? What do you think? What are the odds that this is that this group of Proud Boys were actually planning to overthrow the government of the United States of America, and they left their guns in Virginia? Yeah. This is what you call the corruption of our age. Major, massive, most corrupt scheme in the history of the United States, which is a scheme to destroy Donald Trump at any cost to our freedom, to our values, to our Constitution, to our people, to him, to his family, to me in particular, to people like me. Let's not just defeat them. Let's annihilate them. Let's take away their income. Let's take away their profession. Let's defame them. 51 of their intelligence experts say that we were Russian agents. Yeah, right. All right, Ted, what do we got?
Mayor, somebody mentioned that you brought up the Kennedy compound. They wanted to know more about that. Where is that located?
795 North Ocean Avenue.
Right here in Palm Beach.
795 North Ocean Avenue, Palm Beach. No reason why that is doxing anyone. There's nobody lives there. And it's under complete absolute total construction, which we were there on a Sunday, which of course was not going on. I don't know if it's been delayed or not. It didn't quite look completely like completely active. I can't say that. I was going to say not an active construction site. It didn't look 100% like I was sure it was an active construction site. Would you say so? I mean, I didn't see like cranes there or big trucks on the property. I did see the property had like urinals on the side and workers and stuff like that. It was laid out as if construction had been done there. You can't tell if it was done there a day ago or a couple months ago. Maybe I'll go back before we leave and we'll check out and see if it's an active construction site. Someone bought it. I was told for $80 million, but I don't know if that's correct. I'm just giving you. Now I'm giving you Palm Beach gossip. Like one of those old ladies. How much is the Kennedy compound? Oh, it's over $80,000. $80 million you made, Mary. That's right, $80 million. The Kennedy. So bad things back there.
That's right. Welcome to America's Mayor Live with America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani, the fastest hour on the internet. We're moving right along tonight. Please visit rudygiulianics.com. That's rudygiulianics.com. Mayor, what does the CS stand for?
Common sense.
Mayor, so of course the new GOP House majority is moving along here with a lot of big steps. Do you expect, this is one question we're getting, do we expect a robust January 6th investigation from our side?
Well, how about we start with, could somebody do an honest January 6th investigation? Huh? Is there somebody out there capable of doing an honest one? For example, on January 6th, when you step back from it now and you look at it and you say to yourself, what's the biggest single thing that happened on January 6th? No member of Congress was killed, thank God. No member of Congress was injured, thank God. What was the biggest piece of property destroyed, Ted?
I think a desk may have been moved from a room to the hallway.
Do you know which desk? I mean, do you know which desk?
It was a podium that Mayor, I guess the speaker, it's a people's podium at the end of the day.
Was broken. Well, I mean, I don't know.
You don't know? Yeah.
What was the most significant piece of property broken? Did they destroy a
folder may have been moved?
A Jefferson statue? Of course,
a folder may have been moved.
The press would love it if they destroyed a Jefferson or a Madison
or one of those big those big paintings in the rotunda
about the glory of America. I mean,
they weren't touched.
So why would they would love? Did any of that get broken?
They weren't even touched.
I know there was some windows broken because I saw John Sullivan break some to get in. He's the one that didn't get arrested or did get arrested and has been let go twice now in riots that led to the death of human beings. But he's let go, while others it's hard to figure out exactly what they did. They didn't kill anyone. Some may have had interchanges with police. Not all, just a very, very few. None of the police officers died, even though they lied about, disgracefully, Officer Sitnik, who died of natural causes a day later, and about whom they told very, very big lies about his being hit by things that he was never hit by, doused with things he was never doused by. They just lied and lied and lied. And still to this day, there are massive liars saying 4 people died as a result of the rioters. The truth is, nobody. We're switching microphones. We're going to tell them about these microphones later, and I'm going to tell Ted there's no microphone on one of these here, but none, 0 microphone, none there. You can hear me because of the internal microphone, and I'm speaking rather loud as a result of that. But there should be a microphone on there. But,
Let us know. Tell them to let us know, because sometimes.
and I'm not saying anything. That could be the reason sometimes you don't hear it, Ted. There should be a microphone on there. So what I would suggest is, I have an answer. We go get one of my little wrapped up things, the little teeny weeny ones. We get the one with the lightning connection. Boom, we put it in, and we're all set. And we got a microphone. Okay, so I'm going to talk really, really. There comes Dr. Maria making fun of Ted and me, but that's the wrong kind of microphone. It won't work as well, but it's better than nothing.
Oh, I thought you wanted that too.
You know the one I want. I want the one that has the plug and the thingy comes out. Yeah, I'm not good at that. I'm not a techie. This is a microphone. I might as well give them an advertisement, even though they don't pay us for advertising. But I love the microphone. We give them an advertisement to start with. Look, see? Shure microphone, Shure. We use basically Shure microphones. Even the one you saw before was the better known Shure. That's the one that you see usually held for interviews and for singing. This would be the one you would see more often for. This is the one you would see more often for podcasts, radio broadcasts. The other day, several people were being interviewed on Newsmax, and they were using it. Joe Rogan, the biggest podcast, he uses this one. I'd say honestly, one version up. This is the S something 7. He used the 7MB. That requires another connection. And which is easy to put on when you're at home, but I like to travel a lot. So I would say this is by far the one here. To me, this is the best version. Joe's microphone is a little better, no question about it, but we're not singing after all, and he's not Pavarotti, and neither am I. And number 2, the difference in quality is minuscule. They're both unbelievably great microphones. And precisely for what we're doing, which is direct on speaking. Now, we're going to change microphones here, and we're going to go to a slightly less expensive, slightly less quality, not much. Actually, I thought Ted was going to be an even tinier microphone, which we'll get before the end. That comes out also at just a little. You've seen it occasionally. I use it a little, about that big. That also is very high quality. This is, of course, higher quality. And this is a professional microphone. This is used very, very often for television and radio, as often as this. No, let me amend that. This is used more often for speaking, for news, blah, blah, blah. This is used for JJ the money now. That's from La Boheme. Cello, that's from La Gioconda. I did a photo the other night. You may have seen it on Facebook. I think I repeated Instagram and Twitter. It was of Palm Beach, moonlight over the moon over Palm Beach, and I put down Cielo e Mar, and I got a couple of very extraordinarily intelligent remarks about that. They knew it was an aria from the second act of Amilcare Ponchielli's La Gioconda. They knew it meant heaven and sea. Cielo is heaven. Cielo. A is and. E, like in Spanish. Like in Latin. E mar. Cielo e mar. Heaven and sea. M-A-R. It's a piece of music. piece of music sung by a great tenor. It takes your breath away. Now, I believe I'm taking a chance here. And if there's anyone who can go check this while I do it, I'm not going to check it beforehand. Watch this. See, I'm being straight with you guys, like when I used to win my opera contest in Washington, D.C. at the jukebox. No, I'm going to say no. But the question I asked myself was the original tenor in the premiere performance of Ponchielli's La Gioconda, Enrico Caruso? My answer to that is no, he was not the original performer. However, he did do the premiere performance at the New York Metropolitan Opera House. We're going to find out. Am I correct on both? If I am, I win something. But Ted is here totally uninterested, just being a techie, and not even making offers of things like extra ice cream. He doesn't want you to know that I like
ice cream. Ice cream is after the show.
He might think you might think I have symptoms like Biden. But I liked ice cream when I was 5. So, and I was not demented when I was 5.
Ice cream.
We're going to find out now. We'll go back from the diversion to an article in the Wall Street Journal Monday. The reason I said Monday, of course, today is Monday. That was kind of stupid because I have some articles here from Saturday as well. And when I give credit, I do not want to appear to be a plagiarist, like I'm taking somebody's story. This is from the
who does that remind you of? I feel like I've heard that story about
Vice President Biden. I say Vice President because he thinks the president is Harris, and I don't want to screw him up and get him all confused. Who knows? He may press the wrong button. Here comes one. See, everybody thinks that Palm Beach is so quiet. Now, I could tell you a funny story about quiet later. Experts are fueling distrust in vaccines. Now, I have to say, with all due respect to the Wall Street Journal, with whom I am having numerous disagreements, particularly over the greatest president of the 21st century. Oh, come on, that's not even a compliment to be the greatest president. It's only, it's only him and Bush. It's only him, Bush, right? Obama, him and Biden. The greatest president, certainly since Ronald Reagan. If he had had a second term, maybe the greatest president, along with Ronald Reagan, in the second half of the 20th century as well. Since the second half of the 20th century is divided into Roosevelt, Reagan, and then presidents. Like that analysis? I did it once in a speech at the Reagan Library that Mrs. Reagan loved. And therefore I loved it. So experts are fueling distrust in vaccine. How about an interesting statistic like this, and then we'll think it out together, because this show tries to use common sense too and develop those powers for you and for me so we can see our way through this era of censorship. So here's the statement. And this could be an editorial. I can't tell. I took this out of the articles section because you can print it easier. It's not like out of the newspaper. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Congratulations, Alicia Finley. I do not know you, but you wrote an excellent article here, Alicia. Copyrighted 2023, Dow Jones and Company. All rights reserved. The Wall Street Journal. Now, it says following. In December, Rasmussen reported that a near equal proportion worry that COVID vaccines may have side effects as believe they are effective. So 57% of people, a question, believe that COVID vaccines have side effects. I assume they mean ones that harm you in certain ways, not fatally, but harm you. And 56% believe they're effective. And then it goes on to say, this is the intelligent common sense conclusion from this, because some people might get a little confused. How can you say 56 isn't the arithmetic wrong? No. People can hold both views at the same time. But the self-professed expert class is why I like Alicia. Don't know her. I like her. But the self-professed expert class, and many who call themselves journalists. Great sentence, kid. She may not be a kid. Dismiss anyone. I'm going to finish this and not keep getting distracted because I'm having too much fun. But the self-professed expert class and many who call themselves journalists dismiss anyone who questions their COVID vaccine orthodoxy as an anti-vaxxer. Anti-vaxxer. I'm an anti-vaxxer. A label as sneering as climate denier. You're a climate denier. How can you be a climate denier? I'm not a climate denier. You know why? Because I listen to Vivaldi's Four Seasons. You get it? I don't think so. Well, you can hold both views because you listen to television. And from listening to television, I'm talking about people who don't read a lot and people who aren't book educated, just common sense. So what do you hear on television for years and years and years? There's a new medicine for all of you with liver ailment. All of you who have been suffering from liver ailment now can take anti-liver ailment pop-pops. Pop-pops have been approved by the FDA with the following proviso. If you take a pop-pop, you can get a headache. If you take a pop-pop, you can get tired. If you take a pop-pop, you can get depressed. If you take a pop-pop, you may have suicidal ideation. They say that because you don't know what that means. You commit suicide. They might even say suicide actualization. That means you kill yourself. If you take pop-pop, you may kill your child or children.
They always play this long list of side effects over rosy music.
Oh, in the background, now, the man who has liver, who looked like he was 97 and couldn't move and had a wife who was 103, is now walking around with an 18-year-old babe, hugging her. She's kissing his neck, smelling him, and he's looking like he's about 55 and jumping over things with her. And meanwhile, they're saying, you could have suicide ideation. You could ideate yourself away. And la 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 la.
Great music, very good.
La 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 la. You may become demented. La 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 la.
Mayor, we're getting a lot of questions this evening on a very busy Monday night. What is your favorite thing to do in Florida when you're not working?
When my knees were better, it was without doubt almost what I would call obsessional. I'd be at a golf course.
Really?
I'd be at the golf courses I belonged to, the golf courses I didn't belong to, the golf courses I was invited to, and the golf courses I snuck into. Now I can't play golf as much. My knee got busted up a couple of years ago. That got fixed. That made the other knee much worse. If I play more than once a week, maybe haven't played more than twice a week in 2 or 3 years, it doesn't take down the interest in the game. I just know I'm going to have 3 days of pain. So I play when I have friends who very much want to play. And I particularly play when my son wants to play, because playing with my son is one of the great delights of my life, as is staying up all night and talking to my daughter. So now I would say we're talking about Palm Beach itself. It's really looking around at Palm Beach, looking at the water, going in the pool. Love to go in the pool, even though it's briefly. I just like to go in the pool, swim around. Even if I don't have time, a lot of time, I'll go in for 15, 20 minutes. If I can stay there longer, great. I like to work here. I enjoy working here. I've been here now almost 10, 11 days. I know it sounds weird to normal human beings. I consider it, I believe we were on vacation.
100%, Mayor.
You get it?
I get it. I get it. That's how
I mean, it's like the day when we came off the plane and we had a long, arduous ride here that would make you feel this way a little. But, excuse me, I took a deep breath. I relaxed, and I've been relaxed since then. And most things have gone right. We've had a very, very good vacation, but some things go wrong. People got an indication that some friends of mine are sick. And the usual sadness has a certain thing around it. I'm a little more spiritual here. I read the Bible more. I read the breviary more, although I had been reading quite a bit in preparation for Christmas. I also enjoy seeing friends. They come over like after the show. I have people over, as you know, during the show. We've had many people here. They were people that would normally be visitors here while we're here, and we sit around and talk. And instead, and I'm going to try to get more of them to do it because they're a little shy. They're all on television and radio. It was kind of fun. We had a whole group here with Ed Henry and Christina Bobb. Ed is on A Real Alive America. Christina, of course, has been on OAN and other shows. Has her own show now. We're gonna do more of that. I'm gonna try to get a table, maybe it's a little bigger,
like a round table almost.
Make a round table, sit them around, and we'll have we'll do two things. We'll have a serious Palm Beach political talk the day after or two they have been at Palm Beaches, Mar-a-Lago, and talk to the president, because then they'll be filled in on what's going on. And then number two, I'll see if I can get for you a quintessential Palm Beach gossip session.
That's what I think would be interesting. The mayor's
and now I'm gonna kick the heck out of all the feminism or anti-women, anti-men stuff. They gossip equally down here.
The gossip, Palm Beach.
There's a thing here called the Shiny Sheet. It's the Palm Beach
Daily News or the Post?
Palm Beach Post and the Palm Beach, I think, News. I may have it wrong. Palm Beach Post is more of a normal paper. It's a left-wing rag, and a big left-wing rag with a lot of useless stuff in it. I used to subscribe to it, and I occasionally wrote a couple of op-ed pieces. That's the last one I guess I just wrote. But it's a left-wing rag. Just picks up, and it doesn't. They don't write well either. So these are like the poor man's New York Times. Now the Palm Beach Post Shiny Sheet, I think, may have the same political persuasion, but it's harder to find because it really has two things in it: gossip and real estate. And the gossip is stuff like, I remember when my ex-wife was in it, all her girlfriends would call her. All of a sudden, we'd be sleeping, it'd be 8, 7 in the morning, and Mary Poop called and said, "Judith, you look beautiful last night. Were you at so-and-so's?" And then someone else will be there, and then you'll hear, if you listen in when they come over for lunch or whatever, you listen in. Mary's getting fat. Oh yeah, she's not pregnant, right? No, she wouldn't be pregnant. Or she went to Dr. Robinson. She should have gone to Dr. Silver. Dr. Silver, much better, does a much better job. You hear that now?
So let's set the scene again, Mayor. What do we talking?
You know that what do you call it? When they take your face and they take this part of your face and they put it here.
Plastic surgery?
And they take your ass and they put it on your nose.
Plastic surgery?
Plastic surgery, yeah. I didn't know this until I came here. Men do this. Oh, yeah. I had some friend come one day. He's got a shirt like this. Notice anything different? He looked a little stupider to me. I don't know. He looked like drawn or something. But I don't want to say that. I didn't want to say he looked drawn. You should stop eating. Your wife hit you again. He had his neck pulled in.
Pulled in?
He had some doctor come here and put like stitches here and go like this. That was it. You look like this.
So it stretches your skin. Maybe it gets rid of some wrinkles.
Yeah, I told him. I felt like if I was in my old obsessive boxing thing when my father was doing that, and that jaw was sticking out like that, I'm just doing hit it like this. I can't tell because I can't see me on television. Am I getting it?
Yeah, you're pulling.
Do I look better if it would cost about 20 grand? Would it look better? Maybe more. Would I look better if I did that? Do I look better?
I think so, Mayor. I think that
you go across here, West Palm, there's an alley. It's like an alley near the golf course. That way. I'm pointing the wrong way. He's got me in the right. Yeah, I was pointing to England. I want to send them business. Go over there, up that way. There. That's the way. I should know that. That's the way to the golf course. Up that way, you go a little beyond the Trump golf course, and there's a whole. In New York, you would say a block or two. It's like 2 or 3 of those little malls.
Strip malls?
Yeah.
In the Midwest, we call them strip malls.
Yeah, I know. And all over they're called strip malls.
Okay.
But, Ted, they're more like, they're more upper end than strip malls because these guys are making millions. It's a strip mall of millionaires. Let's put it that way. Because you pay cash for this stuff.
Cash?
Dr. Cash. I mean, of course. Thank God we don't pay for somebody moving their nose from the right side of their face to the left side.
But you're saying people that do that pay in cash?
You got to pay. You got to pay.
Oh, because it's not insured.
Damn right, it's not insured. No insurance company, I think, insures plastic surgery unless it's
unless for hell it burns or something happens.
Catastrophe.
happens.
And by the way, everything I'm saying now, we exclude immediately injury caused or really catastrophic things that may.
Yeah, you're referring to elective.
Look, come on,
elective surgery. We're having fun with it.
I'm not only having fun with it here. If you really have something significantly that bothers you, and you believe plastic surgery will help you either physiologically or even in some kind of meaningful psychological sense, fine. But to do this, you make your eyes look like you're Asian. I mean, half these women walking around, they're Italian, they're Irish, they're Jewish.
No.
Hey,
that's to stretch out the skin to get rid of wrinkles.
Miss Pergolesi, I know you do not come from Japan. You're not fooling me. Well, that's to get rid of wrinkles?
Yes, yeah. So they pull it, right? It's when you pull the skin.
And by the way, this is not meant to make fun of Asian people, because Asian people, I think, have beautiful eyes. However, I do not know why some Italian-looking or Jewish-looking or Irish-looking and in any case, any one of those 3 can be beautiful. I have had girlfriends and been madly in love with all 3.
Yeah.
I don't mean all 3 together. I've ever been in love with an Irish, Jewish, Italian girl.
An Irish, Jewish, Italian. Those are 3 very large groups that make up large voting blocks in the city of New York.
I went out with a Jewish Italian girl. I went out with some, I wouldn't say fair number, but more than a few Italian Irish. That's big. And my godchildren are Italian Irish. And my children. But the mess around your face and
it's to stretch out the skin to eliminate wrinkles.
No body parts face is a big thing in Palm Beach. And I am all excess against it. All excess. I am for it for legitimate medical purposes.
You're talking about elective.
And even legitimate, real purposes of beauty, but not some of these people look and have I swear to God, you can sit in a restaurant here, you can look around, and you can see the same woman at 4 tables. Now, here's what's happening. Same thing is happening.
We're talking about Palm Beach.
Starting, it could be as way back as 10, 15 years ago. You think men don't do this now? You don't think men don't do this? I mean, and a lot of them don't come up to me because they know I'm a Neanderthal. But a lot of them come up to friends of mine, and then they tell me, do you know that he's not coming to see you because he's not coming out for 2 weeks? He looks like he has 2 black eyes. I said, what happened? Did he get into a fight? No, they moved his eyes around. I said, well, where are they? In the middle of his forehead? Stuff like that. Okay, I probably got myself in a lot of trouble.
No. We were getting a lot of
comments. I hope I connected myself with the normal American.
Exactly, Mayor. Look, we are talking about real issues. We're having a good time with it. You love Palm Beach at the end of the day.
Great letter from a governor who doesn't get enough attention. Now, Governor DeSantis correctly and rightfully gets a great deal of attention. And I know my good friend, President Trump, who I saw 3 times in the last 5 days, including a great 1.5-hour conversation. It was really refreshing to get time to really catch up with him. I've seen him a lot in the last 3 or 4 months, but they've all been real quick. I'm saying that to Ted. But the one when I went to his office, you guys sat at that beautiful Mar-a-Lago, and I had the great conversation with him. It really, for me, was really refreshing.
Seemed very healthy and
then of course the other night, last night he was terrific, right?
Oh my goodness!
What was last night? Night before last. He was terrific. We had a gang of 10 with us, and he took pictures with them. There was a young man who had a Trump Really Won shirt on, and he loved it. The kid became his best friend, of course.
Yeah, he had to call him over.
He had to play Maria's favorite Elvis song. He had to play my favorite Nessun Dorma. He had to tell everyone how much he loves us, and he was great. He's in great form. Whatever's going, with people who think he's like in a low, they don't know. They do not know my 32-year friend Donald Trump. They don't know him, and you know him, from knowing him as a political supporter. But weren't you surprised what good mood he's in?
I was not only.
I bet you didn't believe me when I came back because you didn't see him that day, and I said he was in a great mood. And even Dr. Maria, who knows him very well, looked at me and said, "Oh, he really can't be there. What was they doing to him?" And she walked away and she said, her exact words, he is remarkable.
And I don't want to make everyone jealous here, but I just want you to picture this. There's a moment where I'm standing there with Mayor Rudolph W. Giuliani and President Donald J. Trump, and there's me. It's the three of us. As you can all probably imagine, that was quite a moment. Those two, that you can see the love and respect for one another.
I hope the answer to this is true. And think about it. It's a significant question. And didn't you feel like it was just three regular people?
Bingo, Mayor. Bingo. And no one here knows my father.
I wish I could get that across.
I don't know. Bingo. That's it. He's standing there. I don't want to get into details of what we discussed, but what he and the mayor and how they interacted with each other and with me. I'm with America's mayor and one of the greatest presidents of our generation. And as the mayor just said, how they carry themselves. These are true champions of the American people, no matter what your background is.
Please, I wish they would stop that with him. Look, I really appreciate saying that about me. And I need it too. I don't disagree. I get attacked pretty bad. But when I hear this demonization of him, and I am not without knowledge as he is of the fact that he has faults. But when I hear the demonization of him, it's their problem. There's something wrong with them to do this. The man is a normal man. I mean, he is a normal man with the eccentricities of a great man. All great people have eccentricities. It's what drives them in some ways. It's what makes them succeed better than others. But all of them he doesn't hurt anybody. My goodness. As a president, he has probably as fewer people that he's hurt than any president. We didn't have wars. We didn't have wars of any kind. He avoided killing lots of Iranians when he unjustifiably could have because of the drone strike. They hit the drone. They wanted them to take out 10, 20,000 Iranian lives. And the president, who was ready to go because he wanted to hit him back hard as hell, at the last minute, it was the president, not one of his advisors, who said, "This is disproportionate. This is disproportionate. It's too much. It's too much. We lost money. They're going to lose lives. I can't justify that." And he used the word as a matter of conscience. And then he got to the practical CS, common sense side of it. And how the heck are we going to get Europe on our side if we go around banging around civilians when they just cost us money? And we're going to make the case that we're humane. So Biden's going to make the case we're humane, and people are dying in the river coming over from Mexico, huh? He's got them in tents. He's got them sleeping out at night. They're dying in the river. He tells them to search the United States and has no provisions for them. I don't know. You should consider that. Would you call that a crime against you? Not a war crime, a crime against humanity? I don't know. I think so. I think they were calling it a crime against humanity when Trump did a tenth of that. But
it's not about President Trump, just like it's not about you, Mayor, really. At the end of the day, and of the great silent majority understands this. the men and women of this country that built this country, that some of these so-called elites on the coast thumb their nose at, these people understand when they come after President Trump, they're coming after them. When they go after President Trump, it's because President Trump has helped more of the American people and the silent majority than any other president in recent memory.
We got you on. People got to see who.
And he has hurt.
Let them see him. Let them see. He's actually.
And ladies and gentlemen, a lot of you know this, and a lot of you know this about the mayor. It doesn't matter that he's the mayor of the greatest city in the world. He always maintained his connection with the working man and the working woman.
What's the use of being mayor? That's who those were my bosses. That people come up to me and said, "Mayor, can I bother you?" I said, "I work for you." No, but I honestly went out in the morning thinking that when I went into a diner, and I did it more often when I was mayor than normal because it was a way of meeting people. And I would go in saying, I work for, I'm not in here. They all get very excited and they treat you very special. The mayor, the mayor, the mayor. Even the ones who hate you, before they tell you they hate you, they treat you very special. I hate you. But I'd always come in with a different mindset. I'd come in with, I work for you. Now let me find out what's going on that you think I should know. A lot of it I actually can't help with. And I would be honest with them. I wouldn't tell them, my child is disobeying and I'm going to be able to help you. I might suggest therapy, or I might suggest places that can help, or schools that were better, or stuff like that. But the letter I wanted to mention was from the great Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, who deserves, I would, before I decided who's the best governor, because I know these things end up going inside baseball to come outside of baseball. I'd want to look a little better at the numbers. And I'm good at that because I was a mayor who governed by numbers. I started CompStat, and I started accountability programs, and I started CompStat for 27 agencies. And I know how to rate governments. And I will tell you from not just the outside, but from more than a passing knowledge of the governments of Florida and Texas, I would doubt there are two better. And then I would say it's hard to come up with two better because you might come up with some that are governed as well, but not nearly as complex. So let's take Governor Noll in North Dakota, right?
Yes.
Oh, South Dakota, sorry. In South Dakota. I'm not in any way demeaning Governor Noll. I think she's a great governor. But it'd be hard to compare the complexities of South Dakota to the complexities of a multinational, multifaceted, changing constantly Texas or Florida. So this is like governing New York. This is like being mayor of New York. This is like being governor of New York, California, right below U.S. president. This letter to President Biden is just one page. It rips the living daylights out of him for the good of the American people, for the young children in Harlem who are dying of fentanyl. This is written by somebody who cares about them to someone who doesn't. Dear President Biden, your visit to our southern border with Mexico today is $20 billion too little and 2 years too late. Moreover, your visit avoids the sites where mass illegal immigration occurs and sidesteps the thousands of angry Texas property owners whose lives have been destroyed by your border policies, like when he did away with Remain in Mexico immediately just because it was Trump's nasty, petty act of a man who was left back in the third grade and is a stupid little bitter moron because he's always been the dumbest kid in class and probably been beaten up by everyone else, including Corn Pop.
I don't know, Mayor. The way he tells the story, he was the hero when it came to Mr. Corn Pop.
The way people don't know this, and someday we're going to surprise you. Ted and I have privately funded a search project for Corn Pop. We're looking for him. If this guy or his relatives are around, contact me and I'll put you with my ace detective. I'm not going to even tell you.
And we'll get the truth out about that day.
Now, we've had a couple of
Delaware.
We had a couple of people we met with privately. I've even told Dr. Maria this because she would probably think, well, I don't know, she might think we were crazy right then. But we're looking for Corn Pop, although she doesn't like the part of the story where he says he likes the little children touching the hairs on his legs. She gets perved. She says she gets perved by that. I don't know. She's a PhD. I don't know if that's a PhD word, perved.
Well, we got to be careful. Corn Pop is a bad dude. So if we get anywhere near him,
no,
we got to be aware.
Come
of
on now. I'm used to dealing. You think I'm some kind of sissy boy? I dealt with.
I mean, the five families, the mafia,
hey.
Tony.
Tony.
Fat
when
Tony.
he was younger, Tony got a major change in name, mid-career as a mafia guy.
He was he the snake or was he
Tony Fats? Tony Fat Salerno.
He didn't like that.
Then he became Fat Tony Salerno. Big difference.
Well, you've dealt with those guys, but you think they could deal with Corn Pop?
I don't know. You think Corn Pop?
John Gotti.
You think Corn Pop was as bad a dude as John Gotti? What do you think? Yeah, somebody accidentally, tragically killed in a car accident Corn Pop's kid, and then he goes and kills the guy. That's John Gotti.
Yikes.
Even the city you visit, he says to the president, has been sanitized by the Democratic mayor. Of the migrant camps, for weeks they've been throwing the people out. Who knows where they put them, in snake-infested forests or something, which have overrun downtown El Paso because your administration wants to shield you from the chaos that Texas experiences on a daily basis. It wasn't necessary to do this, Mayor Loser, Lesser, Loser. I don't remember what your name is. The president wouldn't remember. So when he came back, they could have told him it looked like this, even if it didn't. This chaos is the direct result of your failure to enforce the immigration laws that Congress enacted. Failure to enforce the laws by an American president at this level is a real offense justifying removal from office, not the nonsense they did with Donald Trump, because people have died as a result of this. Why do we have record fentanyl overdoses? Why do we have more drug deaths than when I was head of the narcotics division in the U.S. Attorney's Office during the era of the mafia, the Colombian cartels, the French Connection, the Turkish empire of drugs? Why? Why? Because of Joe Biden. Because we stopped it as much as we could. We put our lives on the line to stop it. Now they're held back. Just listen to them on any legitimate radio or television show, of which there are far too few. Far too few. I tell you.
Well, Mayor,
thank you, Governor Abbott. It is intended to thank Governor Abbott, and no, I don't want to leave him out. He has gotten more attention, not that he doesn't deserve it, and Governor DeSantis for doing what you shouldn't have to be doing. For doing what, if there were a President Trump, we'd be hitting home runs for the people of Texas, the people of Florida, and indirectly then the people of the United States. And Biden bows to blackmail on migrants. And this is, of course, his double cross of the people in the countries he likes, the Cuban countries, making it harder for people to leave Cuba, making it harder for people to leave Venezuela, making it harder for people to leave Nicaragua.
Well, Mayor,
Mr. Biden sets a bad precedent in bowing to blackmail, as so many of his Democratic predecessors did.
We've just passed the 9 p.m. hour on another very busy night.
190,000 Venezuelans have come in. Now, the good thing about that is these people are fleeing communism. A lot of them become Republicans, the Venezuelans do. The bad thing is, even among Venezuelans, of course, if you're coming in illegally, you could slip in the communists. You could slip in the crooked ones. And there's a lot of corruption in Venezuela, as there is in the United States. So here's why I feel, here's the article of a couple of days before that Governor Abbott was referring to, where they're kind of cleaning up they're kind of cleaning, let's say sanitizing El Paso so it doesn't look as bad as what he and President Harris did to it. Oh, you think he looked at me? You know, Ted looked at me like, I better look at the old guy. Maybe he's starting to slip. He said, President, I did it on purpose, Ted. I did.
I was not. I absolutely. I knew that.
I did it on purpose.
You're as sharp as a tack man.
I-
You haven't lost your fastball. I know people who have lost their fastball. You have not lost your fastball. Mayor Giuliani is what we call a long ball hitter.
Damn right. I can absolutely remember that Abraham Lincoln was the first president and chopped down the cherry trees. And
Welcome
I
to
remember
special
seeing
edition,
I remember
late night with the
I
mayor.
remember seeing the Gettysburg Address done live with Ted Koppel, a commentator, saying Abraham Lincoln is taking the podium. He's one of the lesser speakers today. It said that he's going to give a 10-minute address. President Lincoln has never in his long career given anything less than a 2-hour address. Quite boring when he was in Illinois. That's why he only ran once for public office in Congress and won only one time. Somehow he won on a fluke against against Senator Douglas. But I mean, they had to kind of stick him in because they had to let the president speak. This speech will be not very long remembered.
That's how I bet you that's how the media would have covered it, right? They love to cover Republican presidents.
You know, there's so many shows I want to do. I want to do one of those history shows where they read. They used to have this on early television when back when they still had dinosaurs, and they would do they'd reenact like a Boston Tea Party. They'd reenact, but they'd have like an American commentator there, as if it was partially now.
Yeah.
This is Walter Cronkite. I'm broadcasting from the Boston port, and there's a word that a group of so-called patriots, we're not sure exactly what that means. Others say they're traitors, are coming to burn a ship because the English, King George III wants to tax them. Oh my goodness, here, there's a group coming up now. And then they have actors replaying it. I'd say it's better than the documentaries that we are inundated with, where they recreate the considerably less historically significant things for the public in general, certainly for the families, important murders that you never heard of. But I mean, this way we learn history. And if you make apologies for your historical mistakes or your historical embellishments, it's really like teaching history. I mean, I never taught history. I always wanted to. The only courses I've ever taught are law courses. And they're fun because I like to teach them Socratic stuff. But I really would love to teach history. And I would love to teach history to see if I have anywhere near the talent my mother had for making history a story. But my mother was always very, very good at telling you what she was interpreting and what was hard fact. And so were my history professors at Manhattan College, where I took 4 years of history. They were excellent at, and maybe that's why I can discern propaganda. What do we know for sure? And then what do we have to extrapolate it so we can put it out into a full picture of how it must have been? Because you're never going to have, even a book can't tell you what it exactly was like, nor can a movie, because it's not going to show you every aspect of their lives, like how did they sleep, how big were their beds, how much sleep did they get, what did they eat, what was some of the other concerns in their life. You're just going to be knowledgeable about the ones that were recorded as part of recorded human history. So I guess the point of this is to say that history is always a matter of interpretation and therefore can be abused. But a true historian, a true professional, like a true lawyer or a true doctor, sticks to hard and fast principles. So we know when he's going from fact to very, very supported and knowledgeable interpretation, which he will then tell you the facts on which they're based, to at times very, very, very wide afield interpretation, which from a great historian is exactly what you want, because they have the base of knowledge from which to make a much better guess than you or I do. And which is why history is so exciting if done right. And it is so depressing when you get 16, 19, you get a piece of garbage that should be used for things I can't say, even on live stream television. It's a disgrace. It's also a disgrace to hate America enough to do that. And for a newspaper to support it that hates America even more. It wouldn't even be a newspaper if it wasn't for America. What would the New York Times be if there was no America? What would New York Times be if there had been a Thomas Jefferson? They should kiss his feet. Of course, the guy got slavery wrong, but he got everything else right. And he got slavery right too, because he built in a time bomb against slavery, built in a poison pill. And we'll talk about that next time, because Rudy has gone overtime. You know, you got to think of my show a little differently than a football game or a basketball game. Think of it as one of those interminable soccer matches. So here's what we're going to do from now on. I have a new format for our show, and I'm going to take an extra 2 minutes for it. Ted has to do too much, and I'd actually like Ted to participate in the show more. I think, and you let me know if you think, oh, you're all bullying. Come on,
the comments.
Come on, the kid's getting started. Don't do this. Ted, they're bullying. They're saying, no more Ted, no more Ted. Just keep him to his techie stuff. No, it's just the opposite. I get all kinds of stuff. Even people now that meet him, you know, when I brought him over to Mar-a-Lago, he said, oh, this is Ted. They know him from the show.
Yeah,
you're Ted. And they look at him because he's behind the camera, they think he looks like he's a good-looking guy. He looks like it. Even I think Trumpy was Trump. I should call him Trump. That was terrible.
He was impressed.
I always to a face call President Trump from the day after the 2016 election. I went over to the headquarters at the Trump building. I didn't leave until 4:30 in the morning, and I'm never one of these guys that sucks. You know, I got to be the first one in. Or if you appreciate me, you appreciate me, and if you don't, you know, I'm not going to go sucking around. So I got in about 11. He immediately brings me up to date on a couple of appointments that he made, things he did, a couple of things I didn't like actually, but okay. That's between him and me. A couple of things I really like. And he was right into it already. And I said, good morning, Mr. President-elect. And he looked at me like almost angry. He said, you're going to do that too? I said, everybody does that. They want Mr. President, at least wait to become president. I mean, and then when we're alone, I said, I'm going to call you Mr. President until the day you die.
Yeah.
And you're going to live long after you're president. And he said, why? Well, I saw him the other night. The guy that I called Donald for 30 years. What did I call him?
Mr. President.
Yeah, Mr. President. And President Trump. Mr. President. When I talk to him at the table, do I use Donald and I were talking about?
I'm going to take this moment to say.
You know, I almost punch people who do it. And
my goodness.
I've taken friends of his who are mutual friends aside who started that Donald stuff. Well, Donald and I had lunch. I said, no, you didn't have lunch with Donald. He said, yes, I did. What are you going to do? I said, no, you had lunch with the President of the United States of America. And when you're with him, you call him Mr. President. And you don't do that for honorific or anything. You do it to help him. You do it to remind him that he is in an extraordinarily difficult, sensitive position for which we must have great respect. And he has awesome sacred powers. Sacred. Because if he exercises them right, people live. And if he exercises them wrong, people die. And that's why you can't do the job non compos mentis.
And he's not looking for pity, Mayor, but the way he was treated by so many in the
last guy in
Washington
the world
political establishment.
And
it's disgusting how they treat him.
A guy who deserves justice, honestly. He's a guy who deserves justice. Here's an article I wanted to bring to your attention, how marijuana is bringing down New York, and it's just starting. We're going to do this tomorrow because this is one I will take, as special privilege pleading for my special city, New York. Because I want you to see this before it takes off. We've just started with this weed stuff, and this is really bad. They're already causing enormous problems for young people. We're going to have ruined neighborhoods. This is like the porn industry that ruined neighborhoods. And of course, we're resting our economy, a Mayor Adams mistake. We're resting our economy on drugs and gambling. No. That's not a healthy economy, Adams. Sorry.
Well, I want to make one more point as the mayor has talked about President Trump and calling him the president. This gentleman, this man in front of me will forever be the mayor. This is the mayor. And I'm not going to say anything about, because the mayor just said something when he hears people call him Donald. He doesn't like that. A lot of times, sometimes I hear, people call him something other than the mayor. No, and I don't appreciate, and I know you don't care. You're the last person to say it.
No, but it's different.
It is different. It is different. But mayor, you weren't just a mayor at a time, right? What you accomplished.
Oh, I know.
And how you, I knew who you were as an 11-year-old kid in Houghton, Michigan after 9/11. So I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. Yes, it's different than being president, but you weren't just another mayor, okay? You weren't just another mayor.
I'm going to do analysis of that from the point of view of if I was somebody else, how would I feel about how you should refer to Mayor Giuliani? I'm going to think about that.
Think about it. If you were me.
Because I refer to him as President Trump, not even because he's my friend, not even because I have enormous respect for what he did as president, but I have enormous respect for the office that he held. Now, I do err with Biden in calling him Biden, and I shouldn't. I don't think I should. This also requires analysis. For example, I didn't disagree with, I agreed greatly politically with President Clinton. I had things in areas where I really agreed with President Clinton, and I would consider President Clinton a friend. He was not a close friend by any means, but we had not just a relationship of a mayor and a president, but we were friends with each other. I did not call him Bill. Other people who knew him less than I didn't call him Bill, and I do not call him Bill now. I don't see him as much now because, of course, I've become more of a political enemy to the Democrats, particularly his wife. But until a few years ago, I played golf with him. And during the game, I refer to him as President Clinton. And he several times said not to. And I did. I did because I used to try to stop him from taking all my cigars. I figured I called him President Clinton. I'm only kidding. But the man loves cigars, and he feels shy about it. He wants to make people think he's not doing it. Maybe he wants Hillary to think he's not doing it. He literally, in one game that I played with him, eventually it was him and me, and who was left? Was it Tory was left with us? Bloomberg fled. Bloomberg fled after the 13th round because he said playing golf with Bill Clinton is like being in Vietnam. Balls get hit at all over. Because Bill likes to take 2, 3, 4 shots.
I will am surprised by your love of golf. As you mentioned before.
Yeah, not my kind of game, huh? You're right.
Right.
But it came out for two things. It was a compromise game. I always liked more games with more action. So as a child, I played football, basketball, baseball, boxing. Those were my sports. Not a hockey player. Regret it. Wish I had learned how to skate better. A process of elimination and what you're better at, and your father being a dominant personality in terms of your sports education. I was driven out of football as too dangerous, and driven to boxing as less dangerous. You go talk to my father about that. That'll be a trick he's been for some time, and we're not like Joe Biden. But I actually can explain the rationale, and what happened last week actually makes my father once again come alive. In fact, I had 2 dreams about him in your memory because of the discussions and debates we would have about which was more dangerous, baseball or football, because I wanted to play football. But my talent was for baseball. And until the fastball probably got too fast and the curveball broke too much, I was a great hitter. I became an average hitter. And then average hitter. The rest of my life, I was an average hitter, even in softball. Good hitter, average hitter, but great defensive player. I say great because not too many people easily stole second base on me. And if you sold third base on me, it was the last time you did it, because I figured out how you did it. And also in my old days of playing high school ball, you stole third base on me and you came up to the plate, you got hit. I just mind you, you didn't get hit bad. You got hit in the body. Come on, we did it all the time. Then, you know, I never had I was a fighter. I mean, street fighter. I never fought in a baseball game, never once, not even in a brawl. I got into break-up brawls, but I never, baseball, somehow I could contain my temper as a player, knowing it was too important to the team. And my manager convinced me as the catcher, I couldn't do that because I would irritate the umpire. And since I have been told at times I have a some degree of charm, I used to use it with the umpire and I'd ask their advice. Most of them had been professional, semi-professional baseball players. A lot of them have been catchers, believe it or not. And I would make believe, and sometimes I'd even know what they were going to tell me. I would tell them, you know, whatever his name was, Mr. Johnson, who was sitting there waiting for the inning. And said, Mr. Johnson, I got trouble about exactly when to release the ball when I'm coming out of the crouch. Because you got so little time to get that ball to second base. He said, you release it when you're down. Oh, because you want the ball to come in. Feel like, wow. And then I maybe get a chance to throw somebody out that way. And he would say, see. I think I got a few calls that way.
Well, Mayor, tomorrow night, as you may know, some breaking news and ABC. I can assure you, ABC, CBS, and NBC are all over this. Apparently, President Biden had been holding classified documents at the Penn Biden Center. So I guess it's a closet, a private closet somewhere.
In other words, it's the Biden Center for the University of Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Okay. I thought he was connected to.
Here it is right here. I'll bring this up.
Somebody else. I think Dick Thornberg.
So maybe tomorrow night we'll want to get your reaction to this.
Oh, has he been hiding classified documents?
Yes, Biden.
We're gonna have to raid his house.
And I'm surprised CNN's even breaking this story.
You think that doesn't make me the special
Monday.
prosecutor for Biden? I mean,
I'm questioning why CNN's pushing this so hard.
You know what I would do?
I have a feeling it's going to come back and they're going to try to. Yeah.
You know what I would do? I would investigate him the right way, without the morning raids and without the going after the lawyers, and I'd do an investigation that you could use to teach how to investigate under the United States Constitution and still convict. Now there'd be a little bit of a secret benefit for me there. I should not ever prosecute the Biden case, not because it would be a conflict of interest, because I'm way beyond the skill level for prosecuting a slam dunk case like that. If I were U.S. attorney and I gave that case to myself, my assistants would accuse me of a slam dunk case because I'm a coward and wouldn't try a tough one. You know, that goes on the U.S. attorney's office.
What are you supposed to do if it's a slam dunk case?
Win it. I mean, you don't have to give it to your best prosecutor.
You're making I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Why are we Billy Bob Thornton was in a movie called The Judge. Dr. Maria and I watched it the other night, and he was like the special prosecutor brought in to prosecute Robert Duvall, and he had great skills as a cross-examiner. I mean, that is an absolutely accurate. I used to do that.
I'm looking at best right in front of me.
I had also 5 of the best.
The New York Times would rave about Giuliani in the papers.
I mean, I had 3 or 4 enormously skilled trial lawyers, so I would have to reserve them for the tougher cases to win. Why would I use my best cross-examiner in a case that we had?
You just knew cut and